Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And as I mentioned in today's daily financial news, I had a special guest at 9 a.m. Let's welcome Josh Bouguet to the show. How you doing, Josh?
Hey, Michael, I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Josh? Where do you live? What do you do? All of that good stuff, and we'll get into your story.
Okay, great. Yeah, like Michael said, my name is Josh Bouguet. I'm based here out of Fresno, California. I work full time as a real estate agent, and I'm also a full time real estate investor, fix and flip, and enter now buy and hold, and looking to expand into other areas and meet people and network.
Yeah, and this interview really started because you're working on some pretty exciting projects, right? I saw on Facebook and other postings. So really exciting. But let's rewind. Let's rewind the clock to when you got started, right? I think you got started in 2008-ish. Is that when you got your first, or that when you got your real estate license?
Yes, April 2008 is when I got licensed. I worked kind of as a loan officer in 2000, not even a licensed loan officer, but just assisting from late
Mm,
06, 07. So I
mm.
kind of watched things just move downward. But '08 is when I officially got licensed and met buyers, sellers, and also some investors who did some really good things back then that I took note and really caught my attention with.
Yeah, I was a pretty active investor in well, I would say 2010, 11 were the years for most transactions, buying houses and multifamilies because everything was on sale, which is pretty interesting. But let's go back to 2008, right? That was, as I remember the market, Josh, the market was certainly coming down. We started seeing REOs and short sales, but I use my first house as an example on Norris Drive, right? Sell it for 260, goes all the way to 300. Probably in '08, it's where, it's in the Mayfair to 3.2 or 4.2, I forget. It's probably like 220, 240, something like that. But ultimately that house falls to 2010 to 75, right? So I think '08, the market's bad, but it goes from bad to worse. Do I remember that correctly?
That sounds pretty exactly right. Yeah, and just from the name of that street, you telling me that I pretty much know where that's at. And it's funny, I think we might be up to that level or more by now. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's sounds like the momentum,
Yeah,
the
that's a good
downward
word for it.
momentum.
Momentum. In '08, it was like cracking. But as you go to '09 and 10, the momentum just took over. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because again, you were an agent in that period, right? And dude, I mean, where did the buyers go? I mean, I was buying stuff out of the MLS. I was offering 10, 20% under market. Nope. Like there were so few people buying. Where did everybody go? I mean, that was the biggest thing I wanted to ask you about is where'd all the buyers go? Do you remember that time frame?
I do. So with investors, particularly, I think a lot of people, there's a lot of fear. Obviously, there's a lot of fear. So people didn't want to buy even at 80, 90, 80, 70, So it's funny. You look and you see stuff sitting at 80 and they get it for 70 back then. It's like, what were
Yeah, it was
people thinking?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
A
reason
lot
I
of
wanted,
retail.
yeah, go ahead.
No, there was a lot of retail buyers bidding, but for those properties under 100, yeah, they definitely sat. It's funny how, you look back now, I think that's why everyone now is like, I can't wait for the next,
Yeah,
you know, thing to
yeah, the next
happen.
crash, right? Uh, and it's where I wanted to go with this is you really got to learn and know your market, right? That's my big thing. I talk about learn your market, do your work, what's an average deal, all these things I teach and talk about. The reason I do that is because, and I talk about looking at market every day, is you really build up a confidence level in yourself that you can strike. And one of the things, if you were to go back and look at what we were buying, is you were right. We were buying at 90 and then 80 and then 70 and then 60. And then the cheapest house, dude, we bought a house for 28 grand, like a house for 28 grand. It was a two bedroom, but still 28 grand for a house in Fresno, California, in 93728, right? The tower, right? 28 grand, crazy. Um, but the reason I brought that up is once you learn your market, know your market, you get confident in your structure, you can take action where others are fearful. And and when you were working with investors, right, before you caught the bug to do this yourself, you probably had some pretty active investors who were just like, nope, makes sense buying it, makes sense buying it. All right. Is that what was going on?
Not a lot, but the ones that did, they were confident and they moved. They knew what they wanted. They no hesitation. They would wait it out, whether it was a short sell or they would,
Yeah.
deal with a bank REO, whatever. But yeah, it was I look back and, their decisiveness was, is paying off now. So.
Yeah, especially if they held, right? If you were buying houses in Fresno in 2010 and you're holding to today, you're probably up 8 to 12x.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I still talk to some. They own the portfolio. They haven't bought anything in a while.
Yeah.
They got up to 10 and they're happy right now. So
yeah,
good for them. And it opened up my mind a lot. So
yeah, that's another thing to realize is flipping or wholesaling, but quick income, active income, it's sexy, right? It's sexy. That 40K check, that 20K check, that 100K check, it's sexy, but it's the most taxed and it's a job. I consider flipping a job. It's a high paying job, or at least potentially, but it's a job. Buy and hold, certainly when you have property management, it's a lot easier. Doesn't take as much time.
Yeah, I could agree from the fix and flip standpoint. It's definitely attractive, and I think it's why myself we don't think about holding it. We just think about flipping it. But we're only as good as the last flip, and even if you have multiple ones, it's to the point for me after transitioning now. It's like, okay, I need to hold. If I had to say number 1 out of every 3 flips, or
exactly, I love that 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. You just have to. Yeah, that's awesome.
And like I mentioned earlier, when I think offline is, at the time when I flipped my first property, I think I should have kept that. I should have kept that one. But I know at that stage I had to keep things moving and grow my capital.
Sure.
But now I remind myself, okay, if you've worked so hard and you've been disciplined, start keeping some, Josh, because I'm approaching the point where now I want to build passive income like you and others that I like.
Yeah. Well, I always like talking about the first deal. Tell me about the first flip. What street was it on? You don't have to say the address, just the street's fine. And what'd you buy it for?
Sure. Ashland and Marks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was on Lead Street. It was actually backed up to the southwest corner. I actually went in with a partner at the time, bought it for $88,000 off the MLS.
And what year was this? Sorry.
2010.
Oh, okay. So you're all right. 2010 is a good year. Okay.
January 2010.
All right.
Don't ask me how long it took to sell it, because I was.
Oh, we'll get there.
So yeah, January 2010, bought it for $88,000. I think sold it for like $139, somewhere around there. We initially started at $159. I remember it pretty clearly, and we actually had to sell that in-house. Another agent in the company had to sell it. So it sat for a while.
Okay. So what? So you bought it when you walked in the first time. What do you remember your budget? What you thought it would be? Was it like a 20K flip or whatever?
Yeah, I think back then, but it was probably like 15 to 20. I think it was around there. Was the budget?
Yeah, and we always know we get better at this as we go, right? So okay, you buy for 88. You're thinking you're going to be all in at 108 or maybe 110. What did you end up being in the property before you got out?
I don't recall completely, but I think I think we're no more than 25, probably 20, 25, because things were a lot cheaper back then. But yeah, we were finding guys that, I would never use now. So
right.
I had to learn, and,
of course.
So some of them gave us good prices, but, some of the stuff wasn't as good as what I would expect now. So I'd say no more than 20, 25 into the property. All
right. And then it sounds like you held the property for a while. You bought in January. How long did you hold it?
We sold in like end of June.
Oh, that's not bad. I expected it to be worse. So I'm assuming June the same year.
Yes, 6 months.
All right. So it wasn't like 18 months. Okay, cool.
No.
All right. So you probably made a little bit of money. You probably made 10, 15, 20 grand, and you split that, I guess.
Exactly. I think it was anywhere between 10 and 15 each that we made.
Yeah.
But the mistake I made in that time was I got confident. I'm like, I'm a flipper. I'm not an agent anymore.
You got one flip under your belt. You're like, I'm in full time.
Exactly. So I kind of took my foot off the gas on what I was doing to buy the flips. And I got so caught up in this one. And then once in June it sold, I realized, like, no, you need.
I got nothing over here. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, this isn't working out as quick as I thought.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you about is that agent transition, right? I ask myself lots of questions, right? So I have the pleasure of talking with real estate agents all the time. And I'm actually shocked at how few agents actually are investors, even 1 or 2 a year to supplement your commission.
Yeah.
would be awesome, right? You're in the business, you're in the know, you get first choice on lots of deals. And it's amazing to me. I guess I didn't plan to ask this, but what the hell? It's my show. I'll ask it anyway. Why do you think that is, right? You talk with lots of agents as well, and I'm guessing less than 50% are actually investors. Why do you think that is?
I think when we start out in the business, we're trained a certain way, which is
Hmm.
go out, meet with buyers primarily because that's the fastest way to get a deal. Then
Okay.
you transition to selling. And I think in that whole realm of things, you're just caught up in, you come out with a license, maybe you're full time, and the first thing is I need a deal. I need
Yeah.
to, supplement my
I need to
income.
pay my dues.
Exactly. And unfortunately, if we don't seek outside training besides where you're working at, if the primary focus is sales, and
Yeah.
unfortunately we might pass up on opportunities that we will sell to others.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lack of education and training and in kind of building yourself as a business and not just an agent.
Yeah. So, all right. So I want to go back. So again, you get your license in 08, you do your first flip in 10, you exit, you realize, oh my God, I got nothing behind it. Um, what's the next transition for Josh? Do you go out on your own? Have you always partnered? Where do you go from here?
So right now I still do fix and flips.
Okay.
I do a few on my own. Some I partner with my contractor that I work with because it works out good.
Yeah.
It just depends. So I'm doing that. I'm still selling houses, and everything from selling houses and flipping is now I'm using that to buy properties to hold now. So
Okay.
just purchased just completed my first buy and hold property. I
Congrats.
picked it up in February, and that was going to be a flip. It was actually, I knew the price was good. I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. But rental was on the very, very back end of options. And then it's funny, as I bought it closed in February, late February, March 1st. And you know what happened with the pricing? It just kept creeping and
Oh
creeping.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I was like, oh, this is okay. This is going to be a flip. And I intentionally lagged on the construction because I wanted to see if I was going to full gut the house or what I was going to do, or just do a cosmetic flip. And every time in the back of my head, I started thinking about holding it. And I just, with the help of my wife, she probably doesn't want to hear it anymore. I back and forth every night. Should I keep it? Should I hold it? This much. So yeah, it was very challenging being my first property to, coming from a flipper state of mind, because there was a good margin on the bone, and there still is, but it's locked in equity now. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's very cool. So what'd you buy it, and what street's it on again? And then what'd you buy it for?
This is off of First and Gettysburg,
Yep.
on Orchard Street, right behind the Fashion Fair Mall.
I know it. Yep.
And picked it up in March 1st, late February, for 205,000
Oh, nice.
through my center of influence, through network.
Mhm.
So I met with them, and pretty much it was a done deal once I met with them. And 205, and I just finished it. It's Airbnb now. So
Nice.
just to fast forward, it's now Airbnb. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Airbnbs are taking off in Fresno. Are you doing dailies, weeklies, monthlies? What kind of model are you following?
2-day minimum
Okay.
right now, and I priced it. I am on my third. Our third guest is checking out today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's overall it's been really good. This whole house has been testing. The first guest was a true test of patience and going through with it. But just looking at everything, it's good. But I did want to make sure that if I did Airbnb, that this house would stand on not just Airbnb legs, but as a traditional rental, or if I had to exit out and sell it, that it would still hold on, on the current market.
That's awesome. So I'm curious, did you buy this straight up with bank money, or did you put it in with private or hard money and then flip the financing, or how'd that all work out?
Yeah, so I did a hard money loan, private money loan through Lending Home.
Yep.
They had some really good terms. So 205, my loan amount was 174 200. So
Okay.
I just under, like, if you go under 15%, the rate's better. So I kept it right under 15. I think it's 15 or 19, whatever the algorithm is.
Gotcha.
So I did that. That's still my current loan amount. I have to wait 2 more months so I can season it to do
Oh, 6 months. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So end of August will be my 6-month seasoning. I just called one of my lenders. She's offering me 3.5% conventional cash out.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of doing that. Or Lending Home said they could do me 4.5, 4.7 and just make it real clean and easy. But I want to go the conventional route. I'll do the extra work to get to save the 1%.
Yeah. And again, it's a 30-year money, right? 30-year fix.
Yes, 30-year fix.
And I just, because I'm curious, your payment will probably go down $500, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, PITI, I should be right around, probably around 1,200 roughly.
Yeah, but it'll drop, right? Because right now your hard money is more than that.
Yeah, hard money. I'm actually about 1,450 hard money right now.
Oh, okay. So it'll drop only a couple $100. Okay.
It will. Yeah, they're offering, their rates have gone down since before Lending Home, so they're really good.
Very cool.
Not to promote them, but
no, it's fine. I don't mind. That's awesome. All right. So where does Josh go from here? Right. So you got this first Airbnb. Where does Josh take the business? Where's your wife want you to take the business? What's going on?
I really want to concentrate on buying and holding with the right deal, not just any property. Primarily, if I can do it the Burr way, I would love to do the Burr, but I'm okay putting some of the proceeds from buying and selling real estate into that to hold the property. I want to build up to 4, and then with this Airbnb, I'll start using some of those proceeds, funneling it to the other properties if I have to use it more towards pay down or anything. And the next properties don't have to be Airbnb. I'm okay with a traditional rental, but as long as it makes sense, either way.
That's awesome. And again, the big thing you're doing now that maybe you didn't do back in 2010 is you are still being a real estate agent, right? You're still listing and selling and buying and representing other folks. So if somebody's watching this and they want to buy in Fresno, how do you want them to reach out?
They can reach out to me on social media, Josh Bugay, JOSHBUGAY. That's the same for Facebook, same for Instagram. Or you can just email me at joshbugay@gmail.com.
@gmail.com. Very cool. Any kind of closing thoughts for that agent who's right now just listing or buying for others that you'd want to tell them to think about becoming an investor?
I would say, and just like we're doing now, seek out the power of the network, the power of investors that are go-givers. I once kept myself isolated. I thought everyone was competition.
Yeah.
I started reaching out and talking with people that I got help. I got knowledge, and I learned a lot of stuff that I thought I knew and I thought I was the best at, but I learned. And there's always other people willing to help and give back, and it comes back full circle. And I'm glad we're talking here, because it's funny. Like I said, we talked earlier, and I would see you come across on tax rolls owning all these properties. I'm like, who is this guy? We're talking now. So, and I'm learning from you. I watch your videos as well. So
that's awesome.
Appreciate our time being here. And lastly, the community here, and it's probably other communities, the investor community is great. I got a lot of input from people on this Airbnb that I seeked out, or they just gave me pointers when they saw what I was doing. So I'm grateful for that. And definitely I would encourage to reach out and then just stay in that mindset of furthering your real estate journey besides just buying selling houses.
Yeah, the Fresno community for investors is amazing. It's always been good, but I think it's gone next level in the last 12 months. Lots of go-givers in that community. So pretty awesome stuff. Yeah. Well, Josh, this has been a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this again sometime in the future.
Likewise, Michael. I appreciate your time, and have a great rest of the day.
All right, buddy. Take care.